So we've been doing work up at the Starboard in Dewey Beach for about a year now, coming up on call it 10 months, and it's always been a good time, and we've always talked about doing it. And this week we finally did it. We took a van load of people, not just any people, our friends from Berlin and Ocean City up to Dewey for Dewey, or OC Overtakes Dewey. And it's all that you would expect and more, because where else would you find yourself in a place with a lot of young professionals, senators, and the like, and getting into a breakdancing contest with, yes, a state senator. Welcome to the Todcast.
You're listening to the Happy Hour Todcast, presented by GoodCleanFunLife.com. Find us on iTunes by searching GCFL and subscribe today.
Yeah. So that happened, Tony.
All right, well, let's get right to it then. I'm Tony Russo from GoodCleanFunLife.com. Oh, wait, no. Oh, yeah, wait, yes, kind of. We'll get to that in a second. So, you're Todd.
This is Todd from Good Clean Fun Life.
And you're here to party.
And I'm here to party.
So, all right, so which senator, which breakdance was Jam On It involved in any way?
It was Jam On It. It was a live version performed by Doug Segree. And I'm sorry, it was Rapper's Delight. Don't want to misinform anybody. It was Rapper's Delight, live version by Doug Segree, and it was a state senator from Wisconsin. I don't know his name, but there was a break off. We should probably have our people look into to see if we're going to get in trouble for even mentioning that. But
did you sign some sort of non-disclosure when you went into the Starboard?
No, but there is my favorite sign at the Starboard is a sign out front by the door that says you are not allowed to videotape at all while on premises unless you have express consent by the management.
Of Major League Baseball?
Yeah, basically. So, and of course we have.
I'm sorry, I know there's sponsors and all, but are there any other basic rights that they deny you when you as a rule of coming in there? Are you allowed to be left-handed or Jewish?
You have no right to assemble.
There's no cliques. You all have to sit at the bar. Each bar stool is equidistant apart. Brilliant. I'm sorry. I couldn't let that one go.
That's all right.
Now I'm going to go to the Starboard just so I can videotape stuff and upload it directly. That's who I am, way deep down.
Yep. Well, it was a good time. That's for certain. And jumping right into it, I had mentioned before the show that we put together a little teaser video because it was like Take Your Friends to Work Day, because I have. We do 2 videos a week. I'm cranking 2 out for this week, and one will be sort of the first-person experience of carrying the They have the big Magnum bottles of champagne and carrying those around, and it's like a first-person shooter game. So
that's awesome.
That was a lot of fun, and then we're going to do another video. But in the teaser, there's a little bit of the breakdancing contest. I did leave out the footage of the state senator, although he was pretty good. He was good. I was a little concerned at the end when he was huffing and puffing. He's probably a 60-year-old guy, something like that. So
that is fascinating. And so we were talking earlier about before, again in the show notes, about videos on Facebook and whether or not they are useful and how useful they can be. And are you finding that they're more useful? Are you getting better responses? Is it too early to tell?
It's too early to tell. It's just something that we have to do, to continue to experiment with it for all of the clients and that sort of thing. I'll say it. I would love to get away from Facebook, but it's almost impossible to. Doing this on Google Plus and through YouTube, all of our clients, that's what we push is YouTube and YouTube. But the biggest problem is that a lot of people use Instagram and that and doing the video. So I did a video teaser on Instagram that went uploaded directly, and then I did a direct upload to Facebook on my page. So just kind of checking to see what kind of reach it has and that sort of thing. It's always a tinker. It's always an experiment.
Well, one of the interesting things now about Instagram and its integration with Facebook is that what YouTube has done is if you want to use YouTube, you have to use Google, which I think a lot of people complained about. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a smart move because a lot of people their comments are turning into posts and web pages, and so it's just organically going to happen.
Right.
Facebook is for older folks now in a way that it wasn't even 2 or 3 years ago. And I mean, now it is really your grandma's Facebook.
Yeah. Well, now it's even to the point where my mother-in-law is following me on Instagram.
Right. It's the old person's medium.
Yeah.
And not that Google is the young person's medium, but it's just a ubiquitous medium. It's just all over the place. If you want to watch videos, you're going to want to watch them on YouTube, possibly Vimeo, but YouTube is at least the primary, and
Right.
that is where you're just going to start to drive traffic. And if it's going to be all about driving traffic and making choices, then it's going to have to be on Google Plus. Or Google generally. One of the things that because I'm getting back into blogging now, we'll talk about that in a second. But when I'm getting back into blogging, the one thing that I notice is I'm using my Tony Russo the writer page, probably not as effectively as I could be,
Right.
but I'm so far behind the game now that I can't get any traction with Facebook. I can't get a lot of traction with Facebook. I mean, I don't get the kind of organic shares that Facebook requires, so I may have to pony up a couple dollars, and maybe in the future I will. But for now, if you're going to start blogging and you're going to be effective and reliable, and you're going to get people citing you and linking to you, then that's what's going to count at the end of the day. I mean, the one place where Facebook, I think, has lost completely and cannot recover is in the search. Like, if I want to find someone's Facebook profile, I go to Google. I Google their name and Facebook. I put Todd DeHart Facebook, because if I'm your friend on Facebook, and if I type your name into Facebook, Todd DeHart, it gives me 40 different people, and none of them are you.
Yeah, exactly. And that drives me crazy to no end, and especially between pages and profiles. So I uploaded this video directly. I could tag my friends as a person, as a profile, but I couldn't tag Burley Oak and the Starboard and Mackey's.
You can't tag other businesses.
I mean, I could, but even when I type in the Starboard, Rester, it doesn't. It still doesn't give the automatically populate. And then it's the same way on the Good Clean Fun business page. You can tag businesses easily, but you can't tag individuals. It's just I think an annoying mess.
And I'm sure it's to provide a layer of consumer protection. I mean, I'm sure that's what Facebook would say, and that might even be what they mean. But what it's doing is it's forcing people to find other ways to reach their clientele, and some people will pay, and enough people, I'm sure, will pay that Facebook can continue to do it. But people like me, I mean, I might throw a couple bucks at it, in November when the book's out, or in December when the book's out. But I'm not going to just, as a startup, I wouldn't randomly throw Facebook ad money out and hope for the best.
Well, and I think there's a great YouTuber who's done a couple of videos and a little of his own experiments about the legitimacy of Facebook and that sort of thing. I keep forgetting. And having Veritasium is the guy's name. He's the problem with Facebook, and he talks about the difference between the pay model for Facebook and the pay model for YouTube. YouTube actually pays people who are creating good content, whereas Facebook is looking for the content creators to pay. You know, so it's like, oh, I have this stuff, I want to send it out there, I have to broadcast it. Where on the YouTube, you get enough followers and subscribers or whatever, and you will start getting money for content that you're creating.
Right, and I think that makes the biggest difference of all. And speaking of content creators, as I mentioned earlier, I will be hopefully blogging again on Good Clean Fun Life in the incredibly near future, in the very, very near future. Tomorrow, the next day, in the first couple of days. The first thing I'm going to talk about is why aren't you participating with this, and why you should start.
Right.
Because I would love to get people to participate in our hangouts. I'd love to get them. I actually had some on my State of the Beer podcast. I had several people chime in on Thursday. We moved it to Thursday night at 5.
Yeah.
And right away we got a bunch of people, and I didn't even promote it, so I think that was cool. But the story, there's one bookstore that I want to tell.
Okay.
And so I'm writing a book, and it's done. But on Thursday night, it looked like it might not get done. I was behind, and the deadline was looming, and I had to print out a couple chapters to give to the editor to write, and to edit rather. And I was feeding my printer, and the printer was saying there's no paper.
Oh no.
Feeding my printer, and the printer was saying no paper, and then I lost my shit. Office style. And I was looking for the photo. I didn't get it online yet, but I'll share it when I get a chance. That's probably the first. I'm going to be blogging about my book, both on Good Clean Fun Life and on State of the Beer and on Oster or Not, depending upon what's appropriate. But I started punching the printer. The printer was right here in this room. Punching it. And after like 10 or 15 punches, I heard something give way inside, and it made me feel good, like I was hurting it, like I had gotten to its liver or something. So that just made me punch harder and harder and harder until I couldn't feel my hand anymore. Everything was quiet. The dogs had left the house. And so I finished my punching. I picked the printer up and I threw it across the room.
Wow.
And that's when I discovered that I had not, in fact, been punching its liver, but that it is a scanner copier, and I was just crunching the glass into little bitty pieces. And there's nothing that'll take the steam out of a tantrum than realizing you've just covered your bedroom floor with little shards of glass.
Right, right.
And so yeah, that was it. And so I got up. I took a little walk. You know, my good wife was kind enough to clean. She's like, you know what, just go. Maybe you need to get out of the house for a second. So I took a walk around the block. I came back. I worked all night, worked all day, finished the book. And it's out, and it's awesome. And recently, yesterday, Baltimore Magazine called my wife because they were desperate for photos, and they were trolling Flickr, and they saw her Burley photos. Nice. And they're like, hey, we're doing a story on beer. We need one of those photos. You know, can we license it? And she said, no, you can't, because I don't know who that person is. But I just finished a book, and if you credit the book, you can have some of those photos. And they said yes. So, you know, my book and my wife will both get a mention in probably the October issue of Baltimore Magazine. So already.
That's awesome. She may be sharing the pages with my wife in Baltimore Magazine.
Same phone call?
No, I think a different phone call. Natalie, we took pictures last night of the blacksmith. They're talking about doing maybe they're doing a thing on Berlin, and yeah, they wanted some pictures of and blacksmith made a Burley cocktail. The summer trip, which is sour trip and I don't know, something muddled.
Vermouth.
Maybe, and it's pretty tasty. But yeah, they're going to be doing that. So she might have compadre there in the pages of Baltimore.
That is fascinating. I wonder, we just broke something on Baltimore Magazine.
I think so.
Check the Baltimore Magazine October edition and see what the hell's in it.
It's gonna be, talk about content. It's gonna be all of our content.
Yeah, it's gonna be all of our stuff. But it's okay. Like I said, Kelly got her website cited and she got my book cited. So we were happy, and we were worried that there might be some licensing problems because I had spoken with the editor and I said I want to start posting photos that I took and didn't use. I didn't say didn't use. I said I want to start, blogging about the process of writing this book because it was way better than the actual text of the book could ever hope to be.
Yeah.
And I wanted to use some photos, and she's like, well, don't put all the photos from the book out on the internet before the book comes out. And I'm like, no, these are other photos. But then I wanted to clear it with her because there wasn't anything in the contract. I mean, we own everything. Kelly owns the photos. I own the photo. You own your photo. That's in the book. But there was I figured better safe than sorry. So I checked with them, and they're like, yeah, if Baltimore Magazine wants to say that there's a book coming out called Eastern Shore Beer, by History Press, and then we're cool with that. So
when does it hit the bookshelves?
We don't have a firm date yet. It's supposed to be in November.
Okay.
All early indications are that it will be up in November. They've already gone through it apparently. Just now I got an email from them saying, hey, question. So they're looking at it. They didn't say, hey, I'm sorry, but we wish we'd never heard of you. So that's good, right?
Yeah. So along with you being a published author, you're also going to be launching your speaking career. Is that?
I will. I'll be on my speaking tour. I feel like I should start booking dates. I don't know. I reached out to a couple of historical societies. Do you have photos? Do you have stories? Do you have archival stuff? And they're like, yeah. And they were all very helpful. Some of them I used their stuff. Some of them I couldn't. But yesterday or the day before, out of the blue, I got an email saying, hey, remember you called us about doing the book? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, would you come and talk to our group about it? I'm sure. And they're like, well, we'll pay you $50 and you come out and you talk for half an hour about beer. I'm like, okay, I can manage that. I didn't want to tell them that I've been so in love with my voice I could have kept the $50 and I would have just But they needed a speaker for October and they needed a speaker for November. And I said, well, I'll speak at either, whichever is more convenient for you guys. And they wrote back and they said, didn't you say your book was coming out in November? I said, yeah, but I don't want. They're like, no, we'll book you for November because that way if you have some books, bring them, we'll buy them.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'm off to an excellent start.
Yeah.
And I think punching the printer was an important part. And okay, so speaking of excellent starts, 2 weeks. Once upon a time, there was a man. His name was Brian Carl. He was referred to as Little Brian. He did not like to wear shirts. And he was brought into Burley Oak to be Burley Oak's first head brewer. And when he got to Burley Oak, the place was a disaster and just getting worse. And then, they got everything together. They took everything out. They put everything in. They took everything out. They put everything in. And they were getting ready to brew. And it was August. And I said, no, I'm sorry, it was June. And I said, hey, how long until you guys are open? And little Brian said, probably about like 2 weeks. And then Brian Bushman was like, yeah, well, we'll be open in 2 weeks. So 4th of July comes and goes. The middle of July, I catch little Brian, and I'm like, 2 weeks? He's like, 2 weeks. And then every time I saw him from then until Burley Oak opened in September, he would say 2 weeks. It got to be like a running joke among the Burley crowd. And what else is happening at Burley in the next 2 weeks?
If you're a fan of the Todcast, you know that we've been talking about the Kickstarter for the canning line that has going to be. We started talking about this back in March, and it was 2 weeks away, June 1st. Now it is 2 weeks away, and that is for real. But I think everything happens for a reason. But we have a great video put together. We have an event that we're planning. We have the Kickstarter project picked out, as well as lined up, and then we have the canning line that we're going to be going for. I mean, it's no small thing, and it's this interesting thing where you're a business and you're asking for money, and Brian definitely is a I mean, he thinks long and hard about his customers, and sometimes overthinks things, and doesn't want to say, hey, we want to, we're just looking for a handout or something like that. So I think what we have finally settled on is going to be good. We're going to do a press release September 9th, which is a Tuesday. We're gonna there's going to be here first. We're going to have an event at Burley Oak. It's going to be just it's just going to be invitation only for all of the elite, the militia members, the club members, and that sort of thing, to come out to do a screening of the video, to talk about because we just had the 3rd anniversary, and we had some video there, which is actually a whole nother story, which is great. But yeah, so September 9th, we're going to be launching it. We're having a party. We're going to invite some media. This is my invitation to you right now, Tony, Mr. Speaking Engagement and author of Eastern Shore Beer Book, to come out to Berlin. You can relinquish your self-imposed.
Yeah, book's done. Well, the other book's done. The second book's done. The first book's not quite done yet, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm kind of high, so.
Well.
Don't bring me down, man.
No, you did. I mean, I said it this week. You've been working on this book forever, and they're like, hey, can you crank out this book first? And you did in like 2 months. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous.
If I can brag a little bit, because it was a monster feat, and I don't think anyone appreciates it as much as I do. On Saturday, on Saturday what's 7 minus 22? It's 15th. On Friday, August 15th, there were about 6,000 words written for the book. The first 2,000 of which had to be trashed because they were embarrassingly bad.
Taking Kill Your Darlings to
the opening of the book was so freaking pretentious, I just wanted to die. And so it took me a little while to get over that. On Friday, August 22nd, 7 days later, I handed in I sent them my full text at 37,873 words or something like that. So I was real busy, and I worked really hard. And I had to do second interviews on Tuesday and Wednesday. When I sat down on Thursday, and I still had a printer, back when I still had a printer, I had about 23,000 words to go, 18,000 words to go. And it was just like, I'm going to shake these out of this computer no matter what. And it could have been the worst thing that ever happened, because now that I know I can write 30,000 words in 7 days,
right.
Next book I won't start until I only have 3 days left. I'm just going to push it until I have a nervous breakdown.
I like that. I like the story of the printer, and I think you need to keep that as a memento, as the sacrifice. I mean, because I know, and anybody who has happened to catch any of this knows the pain and suffering that has gone into the development of this is nothing short of amazing. So
yeah, I'm very excited. That's my opening story for the next. I'll do it on my PowerPoints. I have a photo. I just couldn't. I didn't upload it, I guess, yet. So I do have a photo of the trashed printer, and I think my wife took one as well. I actually tweeted it, and I'm like, take that, you Samsung piece of shit, or something. And I tagged Epson.
Epson.
And I fucking tagged him in it and everything. I'm like, yes, I beat your printer to death.
Well, okay. So what was really cool, and for me, I've been filming. I kind of came to the realization we've been doing this podcast for a long time now, and at the same time we've been filming and hanging out and just kind of documenting Burley Oak since before it was Burley Oak. So it was their 30-year anniversary this past week.
I'm sorry, can I call shenanigans on that?
Shenanigans?
When's their third anniversary?
Their third anniversary was last week.
August 19th?
The party was last week.
That's when the governor came.
Yes.
Yeah, the hurricane was this weekend.
The hurricane was this week. It was the celebratory.
By the way, in my book, just because I'm going to be very, very self-centered about it, the title of the section when Burley Oak opens, like each section has like a little header, it's the story of the hurricane.
Yeah. That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But anyway, so anniversary.
So at the anniversary party, we had decided that they got a sign, and we're going to start talking up, and we're going to start getting the people who are going to help us get the word out for the Kickstarter. Give them a little tease. And so I had the idea. You got Chromecast. I'm going to make a playlist on YouTube, and we're just going to play it on the brewery TV while everybody's just hanging out. And it was like a big thing for me, and it took me like 20 minutes to figure it out. It was just like configuring and whatever. And it was one of those things where, I was 20 minutes into trying to figure it out, and I turned to my buddy Adam. I'm like, there's only one person who cares that this goes up on the screen, and it's me. I just want to see my work on the screen. So I stuck with it, and what was amazing is people were enthralled by it. I had a couple of time lapses of the new system coming in. I have a lot of the B-roll of just like behind the scenes type stuff, and even to the point where it was Zach. Zach was behind the bar, and the new girl Nicole, and they're behind the bar, and they turn around, and they're just I caught them for 30 seconds staring at the television, ignoring the customers, and then I looked at all the customers, and everyone's staring at the TV for a good 30 seconds a minute, and in a crowded bar. When that's what you put out there, I was pretty pleased. So it was a good teaser, a good omen, I think, for what's going to come up with the Kickstarter video and the support and all that fun stuff. So yeah,
very, very, very cool. One of the things I wanted to talk about real quick is I have a new "Why Are You Naked" story. And Why Are You Naked, as you know, is my failed blog about my adventures in being naked at the YMCA. I am that old fat white guy who likes to walk around the locker room naked.
Yeah.
And so today I was in the I was actually getting out of the shower, and I was putting my stuff back together. I hang my gear, and I put my toothbrush back, and my grubby guy, whatever. I'm putting all my stuff away. And they've been doing construction at the YMCA for about 40 years. And sometimes the locker room's open, sometimes it's closed, blah, blah, blah. And there are all these hard hat guys just walking around. And so you're standing there, and there's this, construction guy right there.
Right.
So I thought it would be precious, but also mildly dangerous to saying, how uncomfortable does it make you to be around naked men all day, all sweaty, naked, wet men? But I think he probably would have beaten me to death with his hard hat. So I decided against it. But it would have made an awesome. I almost made a vine. I really came this close, and he might have hurt me. So I was really kind of afraid of being hurt. But he looked like a doozer, from Fraggle Rock, because he's got his hard hat on. So I wanted to say, hey, and now we're going to interview a doozer about naked men. Excuse me, Mr. Doozer, how do you feel about working around sweaty, wet, naked men all day? And then, you see him take off his hard hat and start beating me to death with it. It would have been awesome, but it would have been the last video I made, so I chickened out on that.
Yeah, that would have been great. We need to get the Why Are You Naked stickers.
Yes.
I think that's the next.
YAYN. That's the hashtag I use, but I haven't. Again, I'm back to blogging. Probably this evening you'll get one from me. If not, first thing in the morning. I'm going to be blogging hard about. I'm going to break the blog, I think, into 3 different things. The blog about my experience doing the blog, I think, will be on the Good Clean Fun Life, just my regular "Hi, I'm a jerk, live with it" blog. And then the process of writing the book, I'll probably put on State of the Beer. And then now that it's November, or now that it's election season, and I'm going to have really foul things to say, I'll stick that on the No Relation blog because I can always claim that it wasn't me. The blog's called No Relation. Why would you ask me if I wrote it?
You thought this through.
Yes. Oh, no. I thought that through a long time ago. Actually, I'm sorry. My email address, no one's going to email me, but my email address is my name forward at my name backwards. I told that to someone who has been emailing me for a decade.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, that's right. I thought it was like, oh, sure, why not? I thought it was like, hey, you know." Yeah. I'm like, no, that's my name forward at my name backwards. See, Tony Russo at OC or I not.
Yeah, because you're a writer and you love coming up with new ways of communicating.
You know, when I registered the domain name, first of all, there were really good domain names still left because I've had it for maybe 8 years. But I thought it made sense. I could say to people, hey, it's my name forward at my name backward, and they would get it. No one yet has ever gotten it. They're like, what? I'm like, my name forward, like TONYRUSSO at OSSURYNOT.com. They're like, oh, so it's TONYRUSSO at OUR. And I'm like, no, it's backwards. Just backwards. Nobody gets it. It was the worst decision I ever made. But I'm sorry. It was the worst decision I ever made having to do with the internet. But it still haunts me to this. I'm committed. I'm all in. I have that handle on all the social media. I have it. So I gotta go. I sold out to it. I just gotta go. I just gotta play the hand I dealt myself.
It works. It works. I like it. Although I'm dyslexic, so.
So I should say to you, it's my name backwards, that my name forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm screwed no matter what.
Okay. So before we sign off, what do we got going on this week?
This week we have the last theme party of the year at Mackey's is going to be happening, and
how long freaking summer? I'm not going to miss this summer at all.
Really? That's not surprising at all that you're not going to miss the summer at all.
1 month ago, what's it? All right, on July 18th, right? I had no book written and walls in my house downstairs.
Yeah, you're right.
Between July 18th and August 22nd, I took off all the walls. I replaced all of the walls with paint and with... Oh, yeah, I was painting and working on the house the whole time, and also I wrote a book. That's what I did this August.
Right.
Oh, I also put together two major regional youth events. How was your summer?
Well, if you get on my Facebook page, you can see me pouring champagne on people, and you'll know that's pretty much how my summer was.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to miss this, and you are. You're like, this is the best summer. I'm like, I wish this summer never happened.
Well, so here's the we're gonna do a theme party tonight. It's it's the last one, so a lot of kids are back in school, which is kind of terrible if you think about it. And and I question some decisions I've made in my life. We're having a yoga pant party, So I say, come out, relax, play some video games, or play some board games. I think we'll throw a twister board out there, and and do some stretching for the last theme party.
Well, you got to wear your Lululemons, which are like not wearing pants at all.
Right. I think I'm still undecided at this point. It depends on how many more of these that I have.
If I were you, I would cut a hole in the bottom of yoga pants and wear them as a shirt.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. You've literally got your head coming out of your butt.
And I'll just walk around on my hands.
There you go, because you can do that. Can you do that?
I can do that.
Yeah, after 3 tequilas, can you do that?
Well, no.
Especially after 3 tequilas, you can do that.
So that's coming up. It's Memorial Day. Is it Memorial Day? I always get those.
Labor Day. Other one. Memorial May. That's how I remember.
What is it? May is Memorial. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's coming up this weekend. We're going to be hanging out in Berlin. No big events, but then next week we'll definitely be talking about the Burley Oak party, and we'll probably have a podcast there. Maybe we can redo the live podcast at the party. What do you think?
I have no fundamental problem with that.
Okay. So maybe we can talk about that more. And then we're also going to be continuing with Jack Daniels at Salisbury University bars for the next semester. So imagine me with in the Rodney Dangerfield face of the cover to Back to School. So that's
brilliant. Is there any way that does Jack Daniels have anyone who would talk to us on the air?
Yeah, definitely.
We could do that. That would be a nice bump for both the Todcast and for Jack Daniels, and
it would be the local distributor around here from Brown Foreman and my friend Staten. I think Staten's probably even been on before, hasn't he?
I lose track.
Or we could get Dustin. We could get the higher up of the.
We could have Staten on. I think he would be a little bit. If we had Staten on, it might be better, because then if we said something awful, he probably wouldn't
take
it too personally. And if we didn't say anything awful, then he could kick us upstairs for the next one, for the big use Jack Daniels to make eggnog push, which you now should do.
Is that right?
I don't know. I just made that up.
No, we should do that. So somebody made a great point to me. It's like, oh, working with Jack Daniels, even with the local distributor, is great because you can't have a bar anywhere in the world without having Jack Daniels.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, but pushing the honey's a tough sell. Honey's a tough sell on the way, because like guys like me, I'm gonna live and die and never. I mean, I've had it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't. But when there's real Jack Daniels, I don't know why in the hell anyone would drink Jack Daniels. So I'm not your demographic.
No, you're not. But you also don't currently attend Salisbury University and wish to be the Jack Daniels honey. So
absolutely, and that's the thing. It's just I'm not your generation. But I'm a Jack Daniels drinker. Don't get me wrong. Right. I think Jack Daniels is a quality whiskey. Yeah. I like Gentleman Jack. I like regular Jack. If they had an off-brand, I would drink the off-brand because they know what they're doing in the whiskey department. They've got plenty of practice. Yep. Honey's just, I don't drink honey. I don't drink cinnamon. I like whiskey-flavored whiskey, coffee-flavored coffee, gin-flavored gin. Actually, I don't mind I had the Bombay East.
Okay.
It's spicy. It's very good. So I don't really care how you flavor my gin. I like vodka-flavored vodka. I'm not nuts about vodka in the first place, but put like coconut in it, and I'm very not nuts about it.
Yeah, I definitely don't like the flavored vodkas. I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on that.
But Jack does an awesome job on their whiskeys, and so if they can get more people to drink whiskey by putting honey in it, God bless them. As long as they don't stop making the good.
Not that I'm trying to convert you, but it is an interesting story that I've learned being the brand ambassador. They actually, what's it called when you have the bees? With like
apiary.
What apiary? The apiary is actually on the premises of the Jack Daniels, so it's like real honey that they put in it.
Absolutely, I don't doubt for a second.
Right, they do it right. They do it right.
You guys are committed to quality things. It's just not my bag. It's just when there's actual Jack Daniels to be had. I mean, I feel guilty putting ice in my Jack Daniels. Why I would put honey in it? You know what I mean? I'll put ice in it if I'm hot or if I want to drink a lot of it quickly.
Right. But otherwise.
But yeah, if I'm not going to put ice in it,
straight out of the bottle.
Huh?
Otherwise, it's straight out of the bottle.
Yeah, right. Give me a straw. I don't need honey. Give me a honey straw if it makes you happy, but I'll be happy with a regular straw anyway. I'm too close. Sorry. All right, so I got nothing else. How about you?
Oh, I got nothing.
All right, well, may Todd give you the sense to live in a small town.
We'll see you next week at Happy Hour. You.